Trust to Disrupt, the podcast where visionary entrepreneurs, artists, creators, Web3 and crypto minds share visionary conversations and disruptive success stories. Hello and welcome everyone to this new episode with one of my beautiful guests on the Trust to Disrupt podcast. She is a singer and songwriter, a multi-instrumentalist from Porto in Portugal, speaking obviously Portuguese, but beyond that also Spanish, English, German and French. Her music and art is followed by more than 20,000 people online and many more on her live events. But there's more to her. Prior to becoming a musician, this visionary voice worked as a sustainable architect, where she designed and built self-sustainable housing with Earthship architecture. We may want to learn what that is, but she did it around the world. Her work in humanitarian and disaster relief projects, as well as her involvement in the creation of the eco-community in Germany, in German called Wir bauen Zukunft, meaning we're building future, have brought her closer to people from all diverse cultures, all kinds of backgrounds, and also closer to reggae music. And the artist began her music career in an interesting way by basking on a solo road trip in Italy, honing her craft, performing for the crowds on the streets. And when she returned to Berlin, she continued to do that also to finance and support herself on her studies and lifestyle. So after 5 years of traveling the world building, she decided to leave everything behind to follow the dream of music. And in 2017, she founded the Coco Pilots Reggae Project, releasing the first EP of her life and also a bit later the first album called Follow Your Wildest Dreams. From 2022 on then, she embarked on a solo journey. And that visionary voice following her calling, she allied with the medicine of cacao, reframed her music from reggae concerts into interactive live performances and singing circles, and have been on them, and they're amazing, designed to unleash the voices of its participants. Her beautiful and powerful lyrics invite the listener to an empowered, safe space, connecting with nature, where fear and pain can be transformed into courage and love. And all the while, she has a strong connection to the world of Web3, crypto, AI, and NFTs, embracing the world both of spirituality and technology likewise. So everyone, please warmly welcome this global artist and visionary voice, Sari Seramor.
Wow, thank you so much, Judith. That was such an incredible introduction that I feel really honored to be on your podcast and see where this journey takes us.
Yes, absolutely. I'm super excited to have this conversation today with you. Now, tell us a little about, I think you're in Bali right now. What are you doing on this side of the world right now?
So, yes, I came to Bali at the end of the year, so 28th of December, following again an intuition that I needed to come here to further expand my music. When these intuitions come, I'm always equally nervous and excited, because I'm nervous because I don't know what is going to happen, and I'm excited because I don't know what is going to happen. And it is within this possibility that magic is created, because we are not limiting ourselves to preconceived ideas. We are really open for the world. There was one train of thought that I wanted to pursue here, which is music. So I came here to connect with a musician and a dear friend, Porangi, that came here to do a show. And he was staying in the island for a couple of weeks. And I really resonate a lot with his music. I've opened up for him in 2 shows previously. And I really felt that within the conscious music, Porangi really embodies not only the very introspective part of music, but as well a very expansive, a very outgoing, in a sense, part of music that I really resonate a lot, because as you said, I come from the reggae world. I come from the typical entertainment world, and coming into the spiritual community, which is more about looking within, connecting to the sources inside, is not so much about entertaining, but really to creating a space where we invite people in. I still like these 2 polarities, and I'm really interested in seeing how can I, as an artist, move between these 2 polarities of doing my own thing and being as well there of service for the audience, you know. And yes, since I've arrived in Bali, it has been such an incredible expansion. I came here as well with the intention of recording music for the new album that I'm creating, which is going to be dedicated to the water. And therefore, I felt like recording on an island surrounded by water. Bali is really the incarnation of water itself, felt very resonant within me. And as well, looking for inspiration for new songs to arrive, for new connections to arrive. And all of this has been really potentialized here. I'm very honored to be here.
Thank you for sharing. There's so many things in that already. There's like two trains of thoughts that I want to pick out from what you shared to dive in a little bit deeper. One is around the music, what you said, right? The majority of people in the world know music for entertainment, exactly because this is the way how it has been marketed for decades, right? There's a concert or music on the radio or wherever you listen, on Spotify today, but it's mainly perceived as something to entertain you, or you go out to a club and go dancing, etc., etc. And I do feel, I'm curious to hear what you say, because you started talking about that music overall in the world is shifting, and maybe even also within the industry to something more transformative. So can you give us a little bit more on your perspective? Obviously the creation process is maybe different, but also can you already see, is there also like a global impact already, or maybe what is changing or what needs to change more?
Yes, so the word entertainment is really a word that, I mean, it's called the entertainment industry. So a place where the artist goes and the audience goes there to consume. So it's a very kind of like, polarized, in a sense, experience where there is a very big line between artists and the audience. And what I've been exploring in the last years is something that I like to call innertainment, where it's more as well about grabbing this experience and bringing it within, and as well creating more of an interactive experience, especially when it's live, with the audience, where the audience suddenly becomes the artist, where the audience is a part of the creation of the music, where they can as well share their voice, share their message, come on stage and see what it feels to be there, because it is a very powerful, and it can be a very powerful transformative experience to be on a stage and have to channel something or say something. And there is a lot of healing that can happen as well, being on these in these moments. And so, yes, I think that overall in the industry, and I think overall in the world, people are maybe starting to get tired from this very dualistic way of media, and going more into interactive ways of media. I mean, we see it as well on websites, or even, for example, on our news. Before, there was a website with the news and we just read. Now we can comment. You can see what other people are talking about it. Now people are going on YouTube and seeing news, and then you will go through the comment section, and then you are having a conversation. So people are being a part of the news conversation, which I find it's very important, to really give power back to the people. And it started with me, because when I started doing music, I saw those artists and I'm like, oh my God, I want to be there. Like I felt, it's interesting because when I saw like an artist that I really admired, at first I felt a sense of jealousy. And then I was, why do I feel this jealousy, And I felt so wrong, because I don't want to have these negative emotions. But then I started, okay, let me just sit with this feeling. What is this feeling trying to tell me? And then I thought, do I get jealous from Formula One drivers? And I'm like, no. Why? Because it's not my path. Because it has nothing to do with me. I can admire what they have, but it doesn't touch me. I got jealous from music because there is something in me telling me that I can do it as well, that I can work towards being on that stage. And on this moment where I realized this, I realized that actually this jealousy was showing me the way to admiration, to seeing, wow, yes, take this feeling and keep on working on your craft, keep on believing in yourself. So one day you are there. And so, and this, by the way, it's a very beautiful point where today in my life, every negative emotion that I feel, I know that I don't reject it. I allow it to come, because I know that it's a compass that is just showing me 180 degree to the side of light. So if there is a negative emotion, then I just turn and see what is exactly the opposite of this, and then I know that that is the way. So to continue this story, there was an artist that I admire a lot, which is Alex Serra, that in his sets, at one point, he would open up the stage for people to come and just drop a line or drop a flow into his music, you know. And I did it. I did it twice with him, and I felt so empowered because I was so nervous because I wanted that so much that I went there and I was like kind of, but then like with the time I grew into like the nervousness started relaxing and I grew into that and I saw, wow, actually what a beautiful gift he gave me to be able to be with him on stage, even if it's just for 30 seconds, and experience what is that, you know, and face that space and feel what it is, you know, because it has helped me to grow. And of course I want to shine on stage, but I think that more than me wanting to shine, I want other people to shine as well. And that's why as well in my concerts, I open up the stage as well for people to come. I even go down because I know that there are people who are nervous enough, and I go with a microphone and I ask the crowd to say one word, to say a melody, you know, because I really feel like when we start opening up our gifts to the world and sharing our gifts to the world, we create abundance all around. And abundance is the natural state of the world.
Thank you for this beautiful elaboration. I love that. There's again so many aspects. What I want to bring it back to is for everyone listening who might feel like, oh my goodness, that sounds amazing. And I'm not sure if my path is music, but what is the concept? Because what you shared, there's so much truth in the concept and the idea of that. Also giving people, when you hold space on your concerts or on your singing circles, the energy is amazing. The space that you're creating is amazing, and it does exactly what you described. And at the same time, I can speak from experience, right? I have held a lot of fear around using my voice, and it wasn't even about singing. It wasn't even about singing, right? Just speaking, and then maybe going some sort of a melody and expressing that, what we held in our throat, in the chakra, if we want to go a bit more energetic. But even if you leave that out, it is just saying what you are about, or saying what you want, asking that question. So how are you feeling? Like, what are people usually afraid of? What have you seen? Or what is it then, the miracle that happens when somebody finally crosses that line of, oh my goodness, I'm so nervous, but I did it. So what do you feel this space that you're creating is also delivering in a bit broader sense for the world, even for those who say, oh, that's great, but I don't want to become a musician, yet still.
Yes, I understand. So first of all, I want to say that everybody is a singer, because if you can speak, you can sing. And one of the things that really happened in our society is because when we sing, look at every child sings. Every child sings. I bet that you sang as a child, you know, in your head, alone, whatever. So we are born with this innate capacity, which is to express our joy, to express unknown. We sing when we are so joyful, you know, that words are not even enough. We need to sing in a little melody just to make everything a little bit better, you know. And this has such a tremendous power, because I feel like when people are secure in themselves that they can sing, this shows that you are your own master. And when we are growing up, unfortunately, I don't know if it's like the society, our parents, but we start saying, don't sing so loud. No, that doesn't hear good. So we start castrating ourselves and kind of, keeping us from singing. So I think that a lot of people resonate when they hear that in a child, like, oh no, that sounds terrible. Oh no, you sing too loud. Oh no. And all of this, what it makes is takes us away from our center, from our core. Because in the work that I do as well voice activation workshops where it's about the empowerment of the voice, people to start singing. When you hear someone singing from their heart, it doesn't matter if the tone is right, if the intonation is right, if the rhythm is right. When things are sang from their heart, it's beautiful, you know, and everybody has this capacity. you know?
I love that. And can I slip in one question here? Because what I'm hearing, what you say is that I'm going to be a bit provocative to say we need to break the paradigm of like another paradigm of what the whole world in society, we all have been taught what music and what singing has to look like, which obviously
Exactly.
you can go as you suggested, right? There's the art if you want to do it as a profession, and then you have to be skillful in, the
Exactly.
melodies, etc., etc. And at the same time, there's the other part of it that where we have to go beyond that paradigm. Do we need to break that singing is not just the profession, but it is way more than that?
It's yes, exactly. Singing is it's an expression, is a way of life, you know. Exactly like you said, if you want to become a professional musician, that means that people pay to listen to you. Then I tell you, okay, get lessons, then train your voice, then sing on the pitch, sing on the rhythms. There is a lot of things that actually musicians need to do to become good at it. But if you want to sing, to write a song for your beloved and give them in their anniversary, I am sure that your beloved is gonna love the way you sing. If you sing off key or whatever, because it's just an expressional, an emotional expression of the love. And one beautiful thing that music creates, it's not right now we are talking and all the energy is kind of concentrated in the head. When I start using a melody, we connect the head to the heart, and I can see you start to smile, and everything becomes so light. You know, so there is this really energy that is created when we use music. You know, and again, you say that you are not a musician. Okay, you are not a professional musician, but music is within you. Music is within, I would say, 99% of the population, you know? And one thing that is very beautiful that happens when people start singing and start going through a process where they face their fear to sing is that they get empowered, you know? When you reclaim your right to sing, when you reclaim your beauty to sing, when you are okay with the voice that you have, this translates into power, which, for example, on your case, can translate in being a better podcaster, in being a better communicator with your employees, in being a better public speak holder, you know. And these are all tools that we can use for our daily lives, you know. That's why singing is such a medicine, you know. It's really truly, music is an incredible medicine, and singing is our primordial instrument, is an instrument that lies within all of us. So even, for example, in times where we are so afraid and so shaken, we can start and then we are calming ourselves just because we are humming within, you know. And there is so much healing powers within music that I honestly feel that we all should be learning music, not from a cognitive point, but from an emotional point.
I love that call to action because to me, we could even reframe this as music being a business strategy if you want, right?
Yes,
Because if it allows you to get into your power, if it allows you to get clarity, if it allows you to have faith and
enter
courage,
into a flow
or
state that you need as well, you know.
exactly, it gets you to
Yeah.
the point of creating. And like in my world, I always talk about like merging, we're in the age of merging our intellect with our psychic intelligence. And that is the
Exactly.
mix of the heart and the head. It is the mix of the frequency and the brain and the cognition. So you need both kind of. But the question is, I feel, and I'm curious to see what you say, that we're now moving in this paradigm shift where the psychic intelligence part or the frequency part, the heart part, is more the leading element versus what we've been taught across the last 150 years in humanity, right? So that is what we need to. And then if music is a vehicle towards that, it is an amazing, not only a medicine, it is a strategic tool, it is a solution, it is a vital and a very tangible solution to something that for some people may feel intangible and something like, oh yeah, maybe, so the way that you explain it makes it very tangible and very practical, a thing which is at the same time very spiritual and energetic.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing is, for example, I have a lot of friends who are as well in this work of vocal workshops, and we have the more traditional, let's call the hippie workshops, but these are being as well tools used for the corporative world, where there are companies who take their employees and take them into a singing workshop where they develop the creativity, they develop their skills with a voice, they understand their voice as well. You're gonna see the difference if I speak to you in this voice, the type of energy that you feel, or if I speak with this tone and what it creates. So all of these tools, they are being used, for us to be better leaders, for being better communicators, for being better human beings.
I love that. Full circle on that one, I feel. Let's go back to Bali and what you said about your project and the connection to water that you have at the moment for this coming creation that you're in. Can you share a bit about what is the water thing about? What is it drawing you towards to, or what do you feel? Why do you feel it is relevant right now for the world? Where's the connection?
Okay, now we're gonna get a little bit spiritual, a little bit woohoo, so people just hold on. So in my last album, it was an album dedicated to the fire. It's called Rise from the Ashes, where it was an album that I've created after stopping my project with the reggae band and starting my path on my own. And there was a lot of fear in that, a lot of doubt. Can I make it on my own? Can I make it? So in a sense, it was an album where I almost like had to prove myself. It's an album that has this energy, what I call a little bit the more masculine energy of doing, of kind of like having to be, forwards, facing the fears, like being very direct as well. It has a lot of energy, the album. And it's very beautiful because I feel like within myself, I had this masculine, or if people don't like this difference between masculine and feminine, I can as well change it to yang energy and yin energy, because this doesn't have to do with sexes. It's just energies, polarities, let's call it. So after going through a period of that, it came to a point where I was so independent and so like hustling, as I like to say. I was really hustling a lot that I broke my foot. I broke my left foot, that in the esoteric world, it's connected to the feminine. And so it was as well the first time that I had to literally stop. I had to cancel a bunch of shows, and I needed to receive help from friends because I could not walk. And I was in a very vulnerable space. And this actually what created was first a vacuum in the first couple of weeks where I did not know what to do. I felt worthless, because if I'm not doing things, I must be worthless. And then after a while, I started noticing a different quality in myself, and new songs started to arise. And I actually saw how beautiful it is that I have a friend taking care of me, and the conversations that we would have, and that things were being done not for the goal of something, but just because they were arising. And all of this really made me understand that, there is this more, yin energy that I really want to explore, that it's a vulnerable space for me. So yeah, it was very funny because at that point I decided to go back to my parents and stay 3 months with them to be a housewife, because being a housewife in the way that I was taught was absolutely the worst thing that I could ever imagine being in the life. But the beautiful thing was that my father always told me that the only thing that I should fear is fear itself. So if I feared being a housewife, maybe I should just try it to see what it means, So I did it with my parents, which was very beautiful. I was just cooking and knitting and baking, and like doing all these lovely things. And I discovered that actually I enjoy doing them, There are different qualities that arise that I really love them. And again, a lot of creativity that arose from that point, which I connect more with a water element, with a feminine element in how I am now. Maybe in 2 years it's going to be different, but right now it's this what I perceive, that the water for me, it's very flowy. It's very like, it can be harsh, of course, but I connect it more to a gentle energy, And this is what brought me to come to Bali to explore that side. So the way that I'm creating music now is that all the music that I created until now had really big, beautiful productions, because I was really very gifted, or yeah, gifted by the universe to be working with producers that are incredible, like Marcus Berg, who has been with me in these last 2 years. But I felt, okay, maybe I need to come into a more vulnerable space and release some songs that it's just pure me, just the guitar and just my voice, no big productions. And so this is what I've been doing. Of course, things always develop, and in the back of my mind, there are some songs where I feel, wow, we need to do a production. So I'm already working as well towards that. But for now, I'm really focused on going back to the basics and hopefully creating a experience that feels very intimate, and vulnerable as well, because I'm not using any pitch corrections. There is no like 30 takes that we build the song. Is like one take, and that's it, with all its imperfections, with all its beauty. That's it, and this again feels very afraid, but it feels like the correct move. It feels like the most honest move that I can give right now to myself, but as well to my audience.
Wow, thank you for opening up. I'm hearing a lot of transformation. And again, this is the last thing, circling back to the very first thing you said, basically the creation from the void or in the void, using the fear as a vehicle to let her or him guide you. And the energy healer in me, which is perfectly aligned with all of these concepts of the duality we hold and the energies, the whole world is in masculine and feminine energetic principles. It's the duality we have here.
Yes.
And the more we learn to use it and to understand it in a way, to flow with it, the more we can come to the core of who we are, and then find the expression of these different qualities within us, which you've just given a beautiful example about. I can completely relate to this masculine hustle mode, like in the unhealthy way. My version of that was my corporate times, trying to just do for the sake of having recognition, for the sake of feeling like I'm worthy only when I'm creating something, when I'm doing, when I'm delivering, etc., etc.
Yes.
Yeah, and like your broken foot was kind of for me a burnout. And I mean, we get the pathway to reset, and that gives us always the opportunity to look at things different and challenge ourselves, just like you said you did when you went home, but also now with recording in full pieces without interruptions and just doing it you and the guitar, which I can completely understand is something like, oh my goodness, the pressure it potentially can create. And then learning how you can lead yourself and navigate and master that to get to that result with an open mind and an open heart with that. Is that something, because I know we've talked about that on Instagram and you're sharing reels about that little challenge that you're giving yourself. Can you tell the audience a little bit about that? Because I'm always interested in, when people have such a high level of self-awareness, how do you lead yourself? What do you do with what you see? Because that is what makes the difference for leaders, right? When you only look and observe and then have this aha moment, it doesn't change anything. You need to find something to take action. So what is it that you are creating for yourself so that it is easier for you to lead yourself towards this?
So the challenge that I set myself was to do one improvisation a day and post it online, which I failed. And I already knew that I failed, because there is a part of me that loves there is a little pirate within me that really doesn't like rules. So I already knew going into this challenge that I was going to fail, but still I did the commitment, because ultimately it's not about doing really every day, but just having the commitment to try as much as we can. And there are two aspects of it. First is the part of the improvisation, which I think that I've been able to, like 85%, to really do improvisations every day, even if I'm not posting them, because I am not posting them. I'm still doing them. And then the other aspect was the wish to post more consistently, just to show up. And with that I've been like maybe 50% or something. But as well, what I realize is that I'm posting as well. Just I'm now finding even songs. I as well don't want to put so much pressure, because I mean I had a really beautiful talk with Malte Martin. He's a handpan player. And he said that he had as well a challenge of posting something a day, like him playing the handpan, even if it had mistakes. And I found that so inspiring, that it was what inspired me to do my challenge. But then again, I think that there is a difference that I feel of an intimacy level when I'm playing just an instrument, and if I fail a note, or if I'm improvising with lyrics, and then literally like nothing happens. And I will still post sometimes when the process is like, okay, this is going nowhere, but maybe I still have to, excuse me, I still have to give that step of really, okay, if it's really a disaster, to still post it. And I mean, I'm still human, and those parts are still difficult for me to post, where I really just don't see any beauty in what I did. So yeah, and then life gets in the way, and now we are recording, so I have less time to come into this improvisational space. But I thank you for reminding me, because I'm gonna start doing that again. But
Thanks
as well,
for
the point,
sharing.
yes,
Sorry.
the point
Go
as
ahead.
well of improvisation was as well to push myself, in the sense of just being able to flow with whatever is, to create songs. Yes, I love them. To do covers. Yes, I love as well to play covers, because it's other people's work that I get to give my own flavor. But as well, to come into this moment where I really need to be present and just see what it comes out, you know? And this is a very, very good exercise. I'm finding as well that doing it as well every day, at one point it gets very, very challenging. But for sure, I'm really enjoying the process of relaxing more into it, getting more into this state of flow, you know.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I feel we can, because the essence of what you're doing is around the imperfection and all of the interesting thoughts we have, especially in this online space.
Yes.
Most people listening here are entrepreneurs, basically, probably 99.9%. And you have to promote yourself somehow. You have to show up somehow. It doesn't even matter if you consider yourself an entrepreneur, an artist, whatever it is you do, but for your art, for your craft, for your services to be seen by others, you have to show up. And we
Yes.
all have this, whether it is a talking video or a reel, or you will also do music, whether it
Yeah.
is singing or an instrument, whatever it is, to get out of your head and out of the ideas of the paradigms of what you think it should be like, and still do it. Because that is, I can speak from my own experience. This is the thing that keeps us most from being consistent, is exactly this.
Yeah.
The, excuse my French, bullshit that we still think, sometimes even at an unconscious level. So we get curious about what it is, what we think that we're not aware of, as in how it should be, that keeps us from doing what exactly you do. And is very powerful when we do the example that you've given, when we dare and when we trust.
Yes.
Right? That nothing bad will happen, because that is always, the brain always has the connotation of, oh my goodness, if I do that, then. And if you
Yes.
go 3-4 layers down that, it always comes up to, oh my goodness, I'm going to be excluded. I'm afraid I'm going to die,
Yes.
basically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
yeah. For example, in my case, I think that for a long time, which is something that I'm actually right now really breaking out, it was not so much the fear, what will my audience think, but for me, and I think that a lot of creators or a lot of entrepreneurs might feel the same, is like, what will my peers think? This makes me much more afraid of, like, how do I post? Even, for example, I can be in a crowd of 2,000 people. I'm not nervous. If I know that there is an artist that I admire, I get nervous, because I want their approval. I want to be or a part of me, an unconscious part of me wants to be in the part of the musicians that know their stuff, the musicians that are successful, or whatever, excuse my French as well, bullshit the brain is telling me. And this is actually something that I realized, and now I'm more talking to myself and saying, well, who cares? Just try it. And although maybe on Instagram I'm a little bit I show myself, but I don't have, or until now, I never really fucked it up. Sorry, as much on live. I have, So on live, I've done concerts where I was trying things and they failed. They were a lot because I used to be in a band. Then I went solo, and then I got myself a pad of electronics, and then I was like, sweet, now I can be my own band. So I was on stage on a festival, super important festival, Dreamers Land in Poland, and I was doing my own set, and I was controlling my controllers. And because I was so on the controllers, I lost the connection with the audience, and the whole show felt inauthentic, felt there was no rawness. And the worst case scenario, the worst case was that all the artists that I admire, they were there, and they were like, they passed, they saw, and they saw me fail. Like, if I was here, I went to there. But then this is where I feel like, okay, you know what, I tried, I failed, but I'm going to continue on. And this is going to make me grow stronger, because what doesn't break you, and I did not quit. I just keep on working on my craft and understanding, okay, the whole it's not my thing. So now I have someone to do that. Or at one point, I just get again a band, because I'm very good at communicating with the audience. This is my strength, and I should work towards my strength. I don't believe that we necessarily need to work on all our weaknesses. We need to understand our weaknesses and find someone who our weakness is their strength and work with them. And I think that's actually how we grow.
It's a very important aspect about the strength and allowing. So it's two important aspects I'm seeing. A, to understand that it is about focusing your strength and building upon them. And the other one is to allow to figure out and allow the learning experience, rather than calling it a mistake or something, right? Or
Yes.
I'm completely failing at this, and because of that, it means it is the experience, and to allow that, because also that type of an experience guides you back to, oh, what is my strength?
Yes.
Right? So this is the system I'm working with when clients come to me, is all based on strength. Even
Yes.
if we take it to the business, to the marketing, it's all starting with you and your strength and how you can use them in a different way. So I love that aspect, and allowing the perceived failure, because it is learning, and we need that. If we never try anything, how will we know, right?
Exactly. And for me, what helps me to turn this fail into just an experience is just connecting with my inner child and laugh. I used to get so upset for, so many things. And today, whenever I feel like I'm upset, I just laugh. It can be from something ridiculous, like the other day was pouring rain, and then I go outside and my foot gets like in the mud, like, and where I would normally do like this, I just start laughing, like just and then thinking about that situation where I saw, for example, Alex Serra looking at my stage, at my performance, and me like totally failing. I'm like, oh my god, you're so ridiculous, so sweet, Sari, you are so sweet, almost talking to me as I would be a child, and just overall inviting this inner child energy, this childish energy that we have when we are younger, to come into my aid today to help me deal with the difficult situations, has been really one of the most profound experiences that I have had. And this is why as well I have a tour coming up in March, April, May, through France, Switzerland. I'm going to be as well in Germany, and I'm going to be doing cacao ceremonies. And in these cacao ceremonies and in my concerts, the title of the tour is Libère ton enfant intérieur. So release your inner child. And it's really about allowing people the space first to remember, how were you as a child? What qualities did you like as a child? And what qualities do you want to bring, back to rescue again, and to be that adult child within you? Because when we have this childlike energy, the world smiles at us, and we can use it in almost every situation, of course, always knowing how much to bring that child energy, but always keeping that curiosity about life, that awe, that open heart, that ability to sing, that ability to say, yes, I do, I want, to not have fear. This is all our inner child, and I feel like this is really something that I have been doing a lot of work, and I really would like to share with with the people that join me. And
I was going to ask about your tour right now, so it must have been like some synchronicity out here. And I love that you bring in this child theme as a core idea of that tour and what you want to convey and communicate. But tell people, like, where can they find the tour dates? And do you have some cities already that you can throw out where you're going to be?
yes, so I have over 27 dates. The majority of them are in France. I start in Nice on the 1st of March, and then I do La Tour de France. In between, I have some events as well in Portugal. I go into Switzerland, then I'm playing as well in Pura Vida Festival in Germany, and many other festivals to come in the summer. All the information can be found on my Instagram or on my website. So Sari slash Seramor.com or on Instagram as well, Sari Seramor.
Yeah, we'll have all the links for you in the show notes,
Thank
guys.
you.
I'm really inviting you to follow her everywhere. There's also YouTube, there's Spotify. I've seen there's also the dates on Spotify linked, I think.
Yes, exactly. On Spotify, all the dates are as well there.
So yeah, that's beautiful. So you can follow along and put to favorites her albums and her songs. So go do that and then figure out where is the closest city to where you live. If you're in Europe, or maybe you want to even travel and come over here and combine it with some vacation
Yes.
or something else. Also, I can recommend do that. Are there any other things? Because I know you've done the music circles. You talked about your workshops. Is there any other projects around these things coming, or where can people find information about that if you're offering that in the next month?
So everything, yeah, is all of this. I might do some offerings here in Bali while I am here. Although for now I'm really focused on the recording. But yeah, you know, all the magic is always flowing. But yes, any other offerings that might appear, they're going to be on these main channels. So even on Spotify, because I update everything from my main server, and then it gets distributed into website, into Spotify, and then on Instagram I add it then personally.
Perfect. Amazing. So everybody, you know where to go. And I want to come in a bit towards the end of this conversation. I want to move a little bit sideways because we've talked about your music, which obviously is like the centerpiece of everything, but you're so multifaceted, right? We talked about the past life before the music started, but still you are in this initiative of Wir bauen Zukunft, like we're building future, which is German based. But last year you also did an initiative around the song The Sacred Cacao for the Ashaninka people after their homes in the Amazonian forest got destroyed. So there's various other projects that you are either founding or supporting or creating in any way. Can you share a little bit about this and around the idea of why do you feel the world needs these things? What is changing now, and how is that maybe even leading to a different way of leadership overall in the world? Is that visionary, or should that be the norm, or what is your perspective on that?
Well, I think it is both. I feel like society has become very individualistic, and within me I always felt this very deep calling towards community. I come from a very big family, and I was always very happy with my cousins, like doing theaters and then having dinner with my uncles, and then them telling me about the history of Portugal, or then my father teaching me how to build little boats. So there was always this kind of like, yeah, village kind of energy. And so that's what brought me into the earthship, into my wish when I became an architect, actually, before I went to India, because it was my first long trip away. Everything I wanted was just to become a rich, successful architect, you know, very much matrix oriented. And then I arrived in India and I saw people that didn't have a home. Like, it was the first time that I saw homeless. So sheltered I was from the reality of the world. And then I questioned myself, what are my belief systems? What are my values, you know, and my belief systems? If all I want is just to be famous and rich, and there are people who don't even have a home to sleep on, you know. So then I thought maybe I should use my gifts as architecture to really help those who are in need. And this is when I enter Earthship Biotecture, because they have a very big disaster relief program that I was as well a part of. So we would go out in the world and build low-cost housing and teach people how to build these houses. And so after that, the second of my wishes was to create a community, because I truly believe in the power of community, that we to have a support network, to have an inspirational network, to have people to, the same way when I was a child and I did my theater pieces, people in the grown-up world, for us to share ideas and create songs or create projects or do whatever our creative self wants to express. Together we are stronger. There is this, I think, African saying that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go long, go together. Something like this. And I truly resonate with that. So when I finally built my first community and was in the and worked for architecture, I was like, okay, I have this deep calling of music in me. If I don't do it now, maybe at one point it will be too late, and I can always come to architecture, which I love. Architecture, and especially these type of projects, have a very deep impact in me. But I knew that I needed to follow this path of music for now, and then they will integrate, because music and architecture, they share the similar language. They are very, very intertwined in the way that they correlate to dynamics, to rhythm, to aesthetic. So it's the same thing expressed differently. And through the work that I've been doing with the singing circles, I started being ambassador for this brand, for this cacao brand, which is harvested by the Ashaninka, which is an indigenous group from Peru. And for me, it was very important, before I became an ambassador, to make sure, what am I ambassador for? How is this cacao made? How are the trees? Is this organic, or is this even wildcrafted? How is it being processed in the factory? So I went there to get to know them. It was the most profound experience, where I met them. I saw how they harvest. I connected with the children there. It was such a beautiful experience. And as you said, for last year, they had terrible floodings. And when I got the news, my heart was like almost breaking. And at that point, I was recording a song for the cacao brand. And we decided to release this song, and all the procedures from this song will go directly to support them. And the beautiful thing was, almost like a gift from the universe. I made a video just creating awareness, and this video kind of like went viral. It was the first of my videos that went viral, and I believe it was because I was not trying to get something for myself. I was really doing something for others, for the community, to support the community. And I'm happy to say that we were able to secure the fundings. We sent over 4 tons of materials there. They are doing great in their rebuild. So I'm hoping that either this year or next year, I will visit them again to see how the money that people donated, either through clicks or through the direct money, impacted their village.
Amazing. And congratulations on reaching that goal, because I've also supported that with the song and some other point, and I saw how you were supporting that. So I love that it all, the energy of that went exactly as you described. And the song is called Sacred Cacao, which you can also find Spotify or anywhere else. Would you be open to sing a song, like a line of that, for people to get into the tune?
Yes. Sacred cacao, you are divine. You are the medicine helping us align. Sacred cacao, you are so kind. With each sip, you open up my heart.
Yay! It is one of my favorite songs. I have played it so much last year. So thank you for sharing this, guys. You know where you need to go now. So last question before we round this up. You just talked about the connection point of all of the projects for you is the community aspect.
Yes.
So since we met on another occasion in Mexico, which was around an NFT event, which brings in another dimension, basically. So where do you see the connection from maybe the idea of the community, but then we've talked a lot about spirituality. Now we're diving into technology, blockchain, NFT, crypto. So how is that connected from your point of view, and why is this coming into the world now? What is the connection for the future?
Well, I think that the most beautiful thing that I found in the crypto community or in the blockchain community was really this idea that it can be a disruptive tool to really empower the people. I don't know, you probably as well remember that I wrote a song called a Crypto Love Song,
Yes.
because in the beginning I thought as well, okay, it's just a bunch of rich people wanting to make more money, and I really did not understand what was behind it. And then I got to meet the community, and wow, what an incredible community. So supportive. I remember during COVID times, I could not busk outside because, as you told, my music career starting by busking on the streets. So I had this idea of going on Twitter, now X, and just busking on the channels. And it was the Cardano community that gifted me, I think at that point, like 500 euros worth out of ADA. I think they are called ADA
Yeah.
coins. And I was like, wow, this is incredible, you know. And there was so much support from the community, you know, just like, oh wow, let me help you create your NFTs. Oh wow, let me help you understand this. Oh, you have this problem. And this is really where I felt, wow, there is a community can as well be created digitally, you know. And I think that for sure the crypto community, the Web3 community, is one in the frontiers of really showing that we don't need any boundaries, we don't need any passports, that in a space like the internet, we can be all equal and we all have a voice. And this was really one of the profound moments where, for example, I even know that there is now a project where there is a tribe called the Yanawana, and there is a group actually here in Bali who are recording their songs, and through the Web3 and through a crypto, they are helping them to set up a wallet and receive money from the streams of the songs. And this is incredible because you have people in those villages who don't even own a passport, who don't even know where, like, when they were born, but now they are able to receive support from people like you and me just by listening to their songs, you know. And I think this is really a remarkable tool to show that yes, the Web3 has the potential and it is already changing lives. Yes, there will be people misusing it, using it for, you know, for other things, but you know, in the big picture, if there is something good coming out of it, which it already is, then it's something to keep on pursuing. And I super believe in this movement, because yeah, I mean, even for me as a musician, I was able to play with Scott Page, which is the saxophonist from Pink Floyd, through the Web3. And I mean, this is massive. I never thought in my life that I would be jamming and that I would know and I would hang out and I would be performing on stage with Scott Page, you know.
Wow.
And I feel like this is as well just a glimpse on the possibilities that the Web3 allow. You know, it's like from people from different backgrounds, from different places, to just come together on an eye to eye and discuss ideas and create a better world.
I couldn't have summed it up any better. So thank you for this beautiful perspective on a space of the world that so often I feel gets criticized for the wrong reasons,
Mm.
and by that the potential of it and the beautiful connection and the free expression, I feel, is still a space of freedom and free expression and free access, which is less controlled, and I mean controlled in a negative way, not in a good way, giving a frame. So the examples you've given are amazing. So everybody, if you're hearing this for the first time, I even recommend just go back 5 minutes and listen again to what Sari just said, because that is the essence of what is coming now in the merge of technology and humanity in a good way, in a really good way. So thank you so, so much. I have 3 questions at the end of each episode that I'm asking every guest. So are you ready to that? Just first
Yes.
answer that comes up. First one is, what does trust to disrupt, the name of the podcast, mean to you?
Trust to disrupt means believing that your wildest ideas are the ones that you should follow through.
Thank you. Number 2, who would you love to listen to on this podcast? Who else should be on here?
I would love to hear in this podcast. I'm not sure if a specific person, but more of a theme. I would love to have someone just talking to me about, yeah, more, I think more Web3, how the Web3 has been changing in the last 3 years, because I think that this is a very exciting topic as well that I personally would love to hear about.
Thank you. Perfect. And last one, your best advice or an impulse to every visionary person out there, no matter what they do. Anything you would want to give them as a message?
Yes, sing under the shower, sing in your car, sing when you're jogging. Just open up that voice and explore, because it's an instrument that is innate to you and it's going to give you tremendous power.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Everyone, head to the show notes section, find all of the links where you can connect with Sari, check out her tour dates, and follow her along. Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. I hope you really feel inspired and you gain new perspectives for your own ventures to take action. Remember to subscribe to the podcast, download the episode, and share it with one visionary person who needs to also hear this. Also, please leave a 5-star review if that feels aligned on iTunes or on Spotify. That helps to distribute the podcast to more people and to have high caliber guests on for you to enjoy.